everybody. Woo! It's actually pretty dang nice out. I didn't look at the temperature, but I will in a minute. Hey, straight ahead. It's everything in a nutshell. You'll see what I'm talking about. Hang around. I've never driven into this subdivision. Boom! What's going on, everybody? Woo! What a day. It is 82 degrees. I think this is the first time it's been under 100 in a while, so I got out and went riding this morning. Plus, it's take two. I already recorded this video once, and I wasn't happy with the audio, so I'm re-recording it. All right. Welcome aboard, everybody. I hope everybody's having a fantastical day. I'm Matt. Welcome to 9 Mills on 2 Wheels. If you're new, welcome aboard. If you're new and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. It don't cost you a dime. It's totally free. Well, before we get on to today's subject, you know what we have to do. As soon as I make a turn, because I can see there's a glare in the camera B here. So, today's famous woman I'd like to date. Oh, let's go with Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer Connelly. Remember back in the day, Labyrinth? Oh, yeah. And more recently, Top Gun Maverick. Jennifer Connelly. What a beautiful woman. She'd been in a lot of movies. A lot of movies. Blood Diamond that I could think of. And a lot of movies. Beautiful actress. You know, Jennifer, if you want me to fly your jet, I will. No, I won't. I don't know how to fly a jet. I'm not Tom Cruise, who actually flies jets. Must be nice to have a little money. But anyway, y'all know how it goes. If anybody out there that knows anybody that could possibly get a hold of Jennifer Connelly, or anybody that might know somebody that might know Jennifer Connelly, tell her, give me a call, I am available. The other thing I got to take care of is, of course, if you would click on the show more part of the description, you will find a link to Forgotten Angels and their raffle. Help end foster care abuse by purchasing some raffle tickets, or at least sharing the link on your social media pages. Everything you do can and will help. And you could win a house or $250,000. That's the grand prize. Every 2 weeks to give away a motorcycle. You got to buy a ticket during that 2 weeks. Or sign up for Horizon. Harness, not Horizon, Harness. If you go to the website, you can sign up for Harness now, which takes and rounds off the purchases that you make with your debit card and gives that to Forgotten Angels too. You're automatically signed up for the raffles when you do that. Go check it out, and check out Shade Tree Surgeons and Shay Lacey and Spike's Corners videos down there for the latest motorcycle giveaway. Also, while you're down there, check out my Patreon. A lot of y'all know this camera got taken out recently. Matter of fact, if you look, this is a different bracket. When I was out the other day recording this same video, I noticed this camera kept falling. Come to find out, down inside the bracket thing, it was broke. So I had to replace the bracket thing. But anyways, that's a new camera. Thank you to everybody in Patreon who, helped me purchase that. That's for sure. I wouldn't have been able to get it without y'all's help. For sure. So if you wouldn't mind joining Patreon, it only costs $1 a month, just as little as $1 a month. I got 3 levels. I got pistol, rifle, and bazooka. Please consider joining Patreon. It would be appreciated. And an update to the injury will be at the end of this video. So if y'all know what I'm talking about, the last video where I took a chunk of tire to the chest about 85 miles an hour. Update to that injury at the end of this video. Now, this is mainly for the new subscribers, so you don't have to go back and look at the videos. Everything in a nutshell, basically. If you're not new, and you know the deal, hang around. You just might like to hear a refresher on everything that has happened to me, and everything all the way up to now, you know, within 15 minutes, hopefully. Alright, so let's get started. Now, as normal, I have notes taped to my tank, because I can't remember squat. I can't remember what I was doing 10 minutes ago. Actually, I can. So let's start back in late March of 2020. A lot of you know I'm former law enforcement. I'm a bunch of former things. I'm former firefighter medic. Mainly done truck driving. I was at a truck stop in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, late March 2020. COVID was kicking in pretty good. You couldn't eat inside of any restaurant. You had to take your food to go. I'm walking through the parking lot of the truck stop with my container full of food to go to my truck and eat. I was going to spend the night at that truck stop and then get up in the morning and pick up a load in Fort Smith, Arkansas. That was going to Fort Worth, Arkansas. Or Fort Worth, Texas. Golly. So, like I said, walking through the parking lot, had a sudden urge to cough hard and kind of clear my throat when I did. Now, if y'all are squeamish, you might not want to, you know, I ain't going to show you anything, but I'm going to talk about it. When I coughed, my mouth filled with blood. I spit it out. It was a lot of blood. It was bright red blood. Any of y'all know, any medical people know, you know, the different colors in blood and stuff. And it looked like it was clotting a little bit. So I was like, okay, this might not be good. Now, 3 weeks prior, I had oral surgery. And I thought, well, maybe I done something to that when I coughed real hard. So I climbed up the truck and rinsed my mouth out and started eating my dinner. Every 15 to 20 minutes or so, I would cough up maybe a teaspoon of blood. I said, well, I know this ain't good. So I called the emergency room here where I live and talked to the triage nurse. Of course, I explained everything, told her what the blood looked like, all that stuff, and she told me to get to the emergency room now. Get there now. I said, well, oh, okay. Like I said, I was scheduled to pick up a load of Fort Smith in the morning and take it to Fort Worth. And I was like, dang, in order for me to go to the emergency room, I have to drop this trailer and bobtail, you don't know what bobtail is, go without a trailer, to the emergency room or call an ambulance. That's the only way I'm going to get to the emergency room there. Then I started thinking, this is probably something they're going to keep me. So I don't want to be 600 miles away from home, stuck in a hospital during COVID. So I sat there a while and thought about it. Then I talked myself into not going to the emergency room. After, by 8 o'clock, I stopped coughing up blood. I was happy. I went to sleep. Got up the next morning and went to Fort Smith, picked up my load, and headed to Fort Worth. On my DOT required break, 30-minute break, I called my manager. I told him what was going on the previous night, and I said, when I get to Fort Worth, I want a load going home to Central Texas. That way I can go get checked out. He said, all right, I'll get you a load going home. So by the time I got to Fort Worth, I was out of hours. I knew that was going to happen. I had to spend the night in Fort Worth. I dropped my load. And I was scheduled to pick up another load in the morning that got me to Central Texas, where I live here. About 5 o'clock, I started coughing up blood again. And it was more blood this time. Bright red, same stuff. And about 8, 9 o'clock, it stopped. So, all right, I'm good. Got up in the morning, though, and it did make me a little nervous. I got up in the morning, and I sent a message over the computer in the truck to my manager. Said, hey, I ain't going to grab that load. I'm going home now. I'm bobtailing home. No trailer. Gone. I took off. Because I knew something was going on. And it might have been bad. Come to find out, I could have died. It was stupid on my part to do that stuff with the weight. Because I actually almost did die a couple times. Later in the story. So, I headed down to Central Texas here. And when I got here, I went to the emergency room. They discovered a 12 centimeter by 12 centimeter tumor in my left lung. Alright, thus began all the craziness. Of course, you got to meet up with an oncologist, you got to do all that stuff, you got to, you know, all kind of different things, set up a plan and all that stuff. The plan was originally, because of the sheer size of the tumor, the original plan was to go in and get my lung, remove my lung, and then do chemo, radiation, whatever is necessary after that. Alright, so now, when they do a major surgery like that, it puts the body in a lot of stress, so they want to do all kind of tests to make sure that your body can handle the surgery and you can survive after the surgery. So they're doing all kind of tests. Like I said, this is this is April now, in 2020. So they're doing all kind of stress tests, this, that, and everything, and they discovered that I might have had some cardiac blockage. They said, well, we can't do the surgery on your lung, remove your lung, if you're going to have a heart attack while we're doing it. So we got to check that out. So they went in and they put in 2 stents, cardiac stents. And of course, when you, by the way, this is June by now of 2020. When you do that, you got to go on blood thinners. Here's another thing, all right? When you go on blood thinners like that, you got to go on blood thinners. They already still got me scheduled to have my lung removed. When you go on blood thinners, you got to be on blood thinners for a minimum of 4 weeks. All right? And in order to have surgery, you got to go off of them for 4 weeks. So it's going to be another 8 weeks now before I could have the surgery to have my lung removed. 8 weeks. Whew. So this is in June 2020. So the very next day after they put the stents in, I started coughing up blood. I'm talking exorcist coughing up blood kind of thing. Went to the emergency room. I'm standing in the reception area of the emergency room, giving the receptionist all my information with a solo cup, coughing up blood into it. The nurse comes out, takes me by the arm, takes me where you get the vitals and all that stuff, and then takes me right into a triage room, into a trauma unit. And as soon as I get in there, it wasn't maybe 2 minutes, here comes the doctor, and I tried to tell him that I couldn't breathe, and that's all I remember. I passed out. I stopped breathing. Basically, what was happening was my left lung was filling up with blood, and I was now drowning in my own blood. I stopped breathing. Of course, they emergency intubated me. You don't know what intubate is. They put a tube down your throat. Yeah, they put it into my left lung, my right lung, excuse me. That was the only one that was working. And started breathing for me while they were sucking out the blood. The blood wouldn't stop. So they tried to figure out what to do. So they put me into a medically induced coma. I was in a medically induced coma for 5 days before they decided that they would zap me with the max dose of radiation that a person can take to try to get the tumor to stop bleeding. So they woke me up. I had to sign on the dotted line saying, hey, we're basically gonna cook you. Try to get this thing to stop bleeding. When they zapped me with the max dose of radiation, they actually had to check the machine because they were confused because there was no burn marks, there was nothing on me. They thought something was wrong with the machine and it actually didn't zap me with the radiation. Which it did though. They figured that out. Alright? So they zapped me with the, the max dose of radiation that somebody can take. I can never get radiation again. Little lower gear there. I can never get radiation again. Alright? Never have it again. Because I'm maxed out. With one zing. Anyways, they were confused that there were no burn marks. Motorcycle! And, so they took me back to ICU. I've been in ICU the whole time after the ER. And they took out the airway, the breathing tube. As soon as they did, I started coughing up a lot of blood. A tremendous amount of blood. Staggering amount of blood. And guess what? I stopped breathing again. They told me this time they almost didn't get me back. That they had trouble getting the airway back in. And, matter of fact, I got pictures somewhere of the ambu bag that they were actually, if a lot of you medical guys know what, or ladies know what an ambu bag is, that they're using to breathe for me. And they had to put me on a respirator. They got me back, though. And the next day, they woke me up again. And they said, listen, we come up with an idea. We talked to the doctors to do the stents. They could open up an artery, give it better flow. Can they close an artery off? And they said, of course they can. And they said, well, can you close off the main blood supply to this guy's left lung? And they went, well, we ain't never done that before. But we could try. Give it the old college try. Well, I'm glad they did, because they saved my butt. They saved my life. So they went in my thigh in a vein to do this with a coil pack, which is known as a coil pack. They went in my thigh, in the vein, because they couldn't go in an artery because I was on blood thinners. Now, before this happened, before they went in and put the coil pack in, the cardiologist was there and he said, listen, we're going to take you off the blood thinner. Remember I told you got to be on them for a minimum of 4 weeks. I have been on them for 5 days. He said, we're going to have to take you off the blood thinners. We think the blood thinners is part of the problem of causing, the easy bleeding and stuff. So that's never happened. They took me off the blood thinners. They went in and they put this coil pack in. It's right at the base of the main artery to my left lung. Right at my left lung. What it is really tightly wound coil pack. Exactly what it is, a coil pack. And when they let it go, it expands. It's like a bird's nest or a beaver's dam. On X-ray, it looks like somebody took a stylus pen to it, but yeah, that's what's blocking the blood supply to my left lung. So, still scheduled to have the surgery to have my lung removed. This is July now, 2020. So, we gotta wait 4 weeks because I got off the blood thinners in order to do the surgery. 4 weeks later, by the way, the lung thing worked. It stopped the blood. Now, they were going and expecting to get in there and find basically a dead lung. And they didn't want it to get rancid in there, so they had to remove it. They went in to remove my lung. When they did that, they found like a pencil eraser size piece of cancer on the inside wall of my lung, of my ribs, I mean. They said, well, the decision was made to abort the lung removal, because upon getting in there, they realized the lung was still alive, that all the blood vessels, I think, were actually, all the, you know, your lung has a staggering amount of blood vessels, was probably keeping my lung alive and not, you know, getting rancid. The only thing working was the lower part of my left lung. That's the only part of my lung that worked on the left. It's a lower lobe. So, they removed the eraser-sized piece of cancer. They said, well, it's stage 4. It's spreading. There's nothing we can do for him. He's going to die. We're not going to remove the lung because that's just a lot of stress that he shouldn't have to go through. So they removed that little piece of cancer and sewed me up. Woke me up, told me they didn't remove the lung, told me why. And that's it. Oh, by the way, before this happened, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. Sometimes I forget. Back when they done the coil pack, the next day I'm sitting up in bed eating, because it's been like 6 days since I ate. I'm eating. I can't talk because I've been intubated the whole time and I've lost my voice. The 2 doctors that did the procedure come walking in. They were very excited that I was alive. They're like, wow, look at you sitting up eating and everything. So they explained to me that they had never done that procedure before, and to come to find out, no one's ever done the procedure before. I'm the first in the world to have their lung basically turned off. So, we can jump back ahead again. I'm just letting you know about that. I'm the only person in the world that's ever had their lung, the blood supply to their lung turned off. Main blood supply. So when they got in there, they discovered the vessels were actually keeping the lung alive. They weren't going to remove it because they found the other cancer, so it's spreading. There's no point in putting the body through that much stress. And that dude's pissing. That dude was standing there pissing. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny. I ought to call the cops on his ass. Anyway, after that distraction, so they removed that piece of cancer. I'm sorry, I keep going backwards. And sewed me up, woke me up, told me they didn't remove the lung, told me why, that, you know, there's no point at stage 4. Good luck to you. Scheduled chemo. I did 4 doses of chemo, max doses of chemo. I was in the chair about 11 hours, I'd say, average, each time. 4 doses from an IV bag. Some of them get pills. I had IV, but big IV bag. I would, like I said, I had to bring, you know, I was there for 11 hours, usually average, in the chair. That's another study they're doing. So they're doing lots of studies. They're trying to figure out how I'm alive. All the, you know, the lung stuff that they did has never been done before, so they're watching me. I'm in the medical books. Everything gets done to me gets published. Everything, anything that happens to me, even with my regular doctor, has to go through my oncologist and a board of cancer doctors. Everything gets cleared by them. But everything gets put in the medical books that happens to me. So they set me up with chemo, and I've done chemo. That's another thing, like I said, they're looking at is because chemo is rough. I've personally seen people that's gone through chemo. It will put you in the, anyway, you know, it'll wear you out. Nausea gets a hit bad, fatigue, all kind of stuff. For some reason, even though I took the max doses of chemo each time, chemo didn't bother me that much. Yes, I would get nauseous from time to time, actually twice. But the pills they give you to, you know, take care of nauseousness work. I mean, I would get nauseous and take a pill, and then it would never, you know, 20 minutes later I'd be fine, and then I wouldn't get nauseous again. So one pill, you know, kind of thing. Also, the fatigue, yes, I would get a little fatigued, but it really didn't bother me that much. So they're also studying, trying to figure out why the chemo didn't have that much of an effect on me as far as the side effects. I also started what's known as Gettr. Every 3 weeks, I get a Gettr treatment. I have a port right here in my chest, which will come into play here in a little bit. And it's a $30,000 treatment. Every 3 weeks I get it. I get it for free because I'm part of that study too. They're trying to figure out why Gettr is working so well for me. So they're studying me for that and stuff. So Gettr, you know, they don't charge me for that kind of thing. Even though it's $30,000, I feel blessed about that one. So I'm in that study for Gettr, trying to figure out why it works so well. The tumor, like I said in the beginning, was 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters, which is roughly about 4 3/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches. Since then, after all kind of scans and everything else, the tumor now is 4.5 centimeters by 1.9 centimeters. Or the other way around, maybe it's 4.9 by 1.5. Either way, the tumor has shrunk up immensely. Alright, immensely. This comes into play. June, I don't know why June comes around so much. 2023. No, 2022, excuse me. June 2022, I started coughing up blood again. Went to the hospital. They did what they call a bronchoscope. They send a camera down there. They discovered a little bit of radiation damage in my bronchial tube just before my left lung. That's the only damage that's been found. It was bleeding, so they sprayed some stuff on it and they cauterized it, and poof, it stopped bleeding. Alright? July, the very next month, I started coughing blood up again. Back to the ER. This time, to come find out, when they went down in the camera, they had to go all the way into my lung. They found out that the good tissue around the tumor, because the tumor has shrank up so much, that the good tissue was irritated and now bleeding. So what they did then was they cauterized some of the good tissue, and they couldn't quite get it all cauterized for some reason because of angles and stuff. So they decided they put a couple more coil packs in. So I had 3 coil packs in my left chest, in the left side of my chest right now, which stopped the bleeding. Like I said, this was last year, June and July 2022. Since then, I've had no problems. Now, to get what y'all saw, if you haven't seen the last video, go see the video, or the goat's tour video. During that, I took a big chunk of tire to the chest that a motorcycle kicked up about 85 miles an hour. Knocked the wind out of me, everything else. Since then, they've taken a look. They've done what they call an intravenous radiology. They want same people to do the stents and all that stuff. They pumped some dye through it, and they got it, you know, got the machines going and looked under it, you know, looked at it real good to make sure that there was no damage to the port over here, because I was bruised. There was bruised tissue in there and stuff that they could see, but as far as they could tell, there was no damage to the port. They thought they was going to have to replace the port, but they didn't have to. No damage to the port. That's the latest news. And that's it, guys. That is it. That's up to date. You're up to date. Hey, don't forget to subscribe. Motorcycle. Ha. It's motorcycle kind of day. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Don't cost you a thing, and I do appreciate it. Leave a thumbs up. That helps the give the algorithm a middle finger, because they don't like pew-pews and they definitely don't like motorcycles. I wonder at the police around here where the guy was taking a piss on the sidewalk. Hey, don't forget to check out the links down in my show more part of my description. Check out my Patreon if you would join it. Check out Forgotten Angels. Purchase some raffle tickets and or share the link if you would please. And oh, by the way, before I end it here, I have talked to numerous doctors. Some student doctors have done a thesis on me, and I've talked to them and let them do all kind of stuff. I've also been reached out to by friends or family of people who have lung cancer, and pointing them in the direction of my doctors and everything else that have happened, you know, as far as that. So that's the one good thing. When I was signing all the paperwork to have this published, the doctors that did it, you know, that are publishing it, said, you know what, he says, this is going to save lives. The research and everything else they're doing with you, allowing me to be the guinea pig, because I do hear that a lot. Let's see what happens, that kind of thing, you know, because they don't know what's going to happen. So, but that, like I said, this will save lives, is what they were telling me, and appreciate everything that I do. So that's the important thing. As long as it helps somebody else, I'm good with it. I'll be a guinea pig all day long. All right, that's it. Y'all are all caught up. Huge announcement coming next video, guys. Huge announcement. Be sure to watch the next video. And y'all know how it is. If you served, or if you're currently serving in the military, if you're a firefighter, EMS, first responder, special law enforcement, if you're in the healthcare industry, if you're a truck driver out there delivering the goods, if you vote and stand up for your rights, you are awesome. We appreciate everything you do for us and the sacrifices you and your families have made. Ladies, flash a stranger today. Boom.